Morning of May 10th, 2022. Calvin Castine along with Northeastern Clinton Central School Superintendent of Schools, Robb Garrand, and we're looking at portions of the new sports complex here. And as we can see, it's still under construction, but it's getting some use. Last fall, we were able to get a game, or I think 2 games in on the soccer field. Don't wander away from me here, Rob.
Yes, our 2 varsity. We had 1 game for the boys and 1 game for the girls varsity teams to end their season.
So the bleachers weren't up, the press box wasn't up, but they were able. Last year's players were able to get on the field, and I think that was important to everybody involved.
Absolutely. We've actually had a lot of students return from college in amazement and a lot of jealousy of in terms of why not me. So it's been a huge success. We've had a lot of traveling teams. Again, our track teams have just, on the last 3 years, have had to travel because our previous track was deemed unfit for competition. So this year we started hosting track meets, and a lot of great conversations from opposing athletes and coaches regarding our facility.
Okay, I think you've had, 2 home meets so far?
We've had 2, and we have our senior night May 19th for, again, senior night versus AuSable here on site. We have our bleachers that are basically our athletic component to phase 1 is coming to an end. We are expecting a lot of Clark Companies has been working with our architects and engineers, BBS. Clark Companies, I share with you during our first broadcast, we've been fortunate enough that they do a lot of work, mostly with colleges and professional sports stadiums. And we've been very, very fortunate that we were able to get them as part of our project. Now, actually, Malone did a tour of our project, and now they are working with Clark Companies as well. So their project is moving. So again, end of May, they're expected to be completed. Again, there's some work to be done on our bleachers, the press box, and still some final finishes there. But everything we've been very, very pleased with, even as far as you can see the sidelines where our Cougar lettering is on both sides of the field. Just areas that typically would take about 2 weeks to come are waiting 8 to 10 weeks. So the supply chain continues to be an issue. Our general contractor, Murnane Builders, has been very, very good to work with as well as our project manager, Schoolhouse, because what we've done is while we wait for certain areas that are stalling some of our project hopes, we've basically been moving them into areas of phase 2 for demolition, at least preparing those areas. So we just have been shifting our scope of work, I should say our timeline of work a bit to help get things a faster start while we wait for some of these supplies. The lights are not able to be on yet because, as you can see to my left, the comfort station is being built, just a fancier name for it's going to be storage, a concession stand, and bathrooms for public. So that is actually within the last week has made great progress. That's scheduled to be done the last week of June, but that's also what houses our electricity in terms of for the lights to be going on. So that will be an area that hopefully we're on timeline there, but regardless, we don't start any true activities up until the fall season begins September.
Okay, so this will be where the restrooms and convenience, the concession stand will be.
Yep.
So the people have to make their way from the bleachers.
Yep. There's a pathway that goes from behind where the comfort station is, right behind the scoreboard. There's a lit pathway. You can see the additional lights that go all the way to the bleachers.
Okay, so it's just.
Yeah.
I was looking at the stuff piled up here, but it's actually where the guys are working here. It's where the
Correct.
will be, right?
Yes,
and scoreboard. Okay.
Yes, and it's actually going to be. That's what the whole purpose of it centrally located. So, for example, baseball games. A little further away from softball, but tennis. It just that central area. And you'll find a lot of comfort stations are typically by that soccer field anyway, football field, and the track area. So there's been a lot of great movement on that as well.
All right, so.
We actually added this pathway too, Calvin, going down. Matt Arnold Buildings and Grounds has really been wonderful on basically the efficiencies of our new project in terms of before we did not have that pathway and a bus comes and drops kids off and we're getting dirty sneakers, and so we really have been working hard to keeping that pathway clean so people arrive, we're not transporting mud and so on. As you can see, they're doing field work now. around the area. The fencing has been now taken off, so they're really closing out that area. You can see on the upper part of the hill to the right, they're closing out the junior varsity and modified baseball area, just doing some work in the infield. And as you can see, the pile of sand, we in-house have purchased 10 loads of stones, and we are seeing very clearly, just even for track events that do not host even close to the amount of people that come for a soccer event, so that's going to be additional parking up there as well.
Okay. So for folks who are not quite sure where we are, this is looking at those trees over there that was behind the backstop in the former baseball diamond, and that they had one game there last year in 2021. Just to have one game on their fields, one final game, and then the construction began, and until last night, as we're taping this, no home games for the baseball team, and last night they were finally able to have one. As Rob said, 2 track meets and 1 more to come. I think the track opened up the same day as the softball diamond did, and I was over at the softball game. So this is the for my own edification here, because when I was covering a little bit of the track meet the other day, I had to get to a county meeting, so I covered part of it. The jumping, I can see where they are, but where's the throwing going on?
So the throwing, we're going to make our way the shot put and disc. Right now, the disc is up on the upper end of the baseball, only because it's not completed yet, but it'll be over into this area. We'll show you that. Also, going back to the bleachers, if you look at the bottom level of the bleachers, we're going to have a welcome to Cougar Country or something built into that area. I do believe, as nice as the bleachers and how pleased we are with the whole progress of the field and actually at completion where it's at, I do believe our suspicions are, we don't think there's a better spot to probably watch the game than on top of that hill. We anticipate a lot of lawn chairs on the top of that hill, and probably for somebody, that somebody just has a hard time dealing with as it gets colder or rainy or so on, they maybe use that parking spot, maybe some of the best areas to see the game.
Yeah, they're seeing it from one end. I taped the games, I think, from that angle last year when they had them here, and it was a very adequate angle. It's a good spot, as Rob says, to enjoy the game if you don't want to do a lot of walking.
This summer, we're also going to be having, from the front and all the back, basically resurfacing, resealing of our parking lot and relining. So it's basically going to look, it's going to look brand new as well, so there'll be a lot of work being done. Our summer school program this year is going to be at Moore's Elementary School, simply because there's going to be so much work being done and so many people here and so many things ripped up. So for this 1 year only, we'll be hosting our summer school enrichment and remediation program at Moore's Elementary School.
Okay.
So we are making our way to where you will see the shot put area is already designed, that we're using that for competition, but the discus area is not completed yet. What we have to have here is just some seeding and mulching and so on. Once that goes into an area of nice grass, it'll be very nice between the two fields. You can see the shot put area right now. So they're just working on continuing work of the field space. Again, going to be doing some seeding. And what you don't really see right yet, Calvin, because they're not done, is you can see where those poles, those lights continue, and that's where the pathway will go to the concession stand.
Okay. So as you said, people will come into the soccer track, whatever, they can use this back parking lot, or they can, in the future, use the parking lot off Prospect Hill up there. All right, and we're at the end of the left field area of the baseball diamond, and we got the tennis courts. Tennis courts, you did some work on these too. Oops. Looks like.
Absolutely.
All right, we're following Rob here.
So we incorporated with our tennis courts, we added a court. So we now have 5 courts. We were often having to have both coaches, one coach go to Ross's Point Civic Center, as well as keeping a coach on site here for not enough space.
Right.
So it's been nice to be able to basically have all of our students here. So total reconstruction and painting of our tennis court area.
I'll have to ask you now, during the summer months, is the public allowed to use these?
So we're having right now is our goal is at some point to start opening up some of these spaces more for, but right now, so your long-term answer is it's always a goal. We want to have this opportunity for our community, but right now the short-term goal is as of this summer there's going to be so much going on that a lot of this will be all as far as all the surrounding areas torn up. So we're looking at, because we do have some requests from some of our actual sports teams, like the August area, where obviously a lot of teams are prepping for their fall season and doing just kind of like open areas, open practice work. So we're going to have to get to that area. So we're really starting to do additional planning with that right now with some of the requests. This was the additional court, the last on the left, so you can see a nice open area. Mr. McManus, as you know, has been coaching here for several years and was an outstanding tennis player himself. I know that the assistant coach, Cater, has told me quite often that Mr. McManus can't be any happier with the facility now that he has for this tennis program.
I can imagine.
So walking through some of our area here.
Now we've moved to the southern part of the school. The varsity softball field was to our left here, and the soccer fields were to our right, and immediately in front of us was the JV soccer fields.
So you can see our pathway. So as you stated, the varsity softball field.
The new varsity field is down there for the girls. And as I mentioned the other day, that was actually the location of the field in '83 when I started covering the Cougars. That's where the first varsity softball field that we covered was located. And that got switched about the time that the new lighted soccer field came in the early '90s. And here's the baseball diamond.
So you will see the only difference between the junior varsity and the varsity is you will notice that the dugout areas, the varsity fields have the roof onto the dugout areas. But so this is our area there, all new clay. There's some work to still be done here in JV softball with the clay, but the varsity field has been completed. Basically making sure that when they were seeding and everything with the water setting in, so we just were able to open it up for the baseball field to have their first game, as you stated last evening. We have also had to put into the budget in terms of an additional custodial worker, kind of like going to be doing some work inside, but also some out on the grounds, because you can't have a facility like this and somebody not taking care of it.
Right.
That's one of the biggest areas that we make sure is you're going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it later, in terms of like somebody that's taking great pride in keeping these field conditions up and working with our buildings and grounds director, Matt Arno, in terms of the checklist of what we need to do to keep it up, is going to be far outweighing what does not get taken care of 6-7 years that become maintenance cost issues annually, that because of things that have not been taken care of the way they should be.
Right.
We had those expenditures with our track before ripping it up, just to try to keep and resurface in areas. So we really want to stay up to date, and obviously you still have to build into your budget annual manual costs, because you have to take care of things like this to keep them for this is for years to come.
Now there is a bit of a walk here for a baseball game, though.
Correct.
There's no close,
Yep.
even for handicap. There's no spot.
You will see it doesn't fix the total situation. We've also added, that's why you see cars parked on the side. We've actually added light poles as well as additional parking to the side.
Right.
So as far as like last night, you saw mostly there instead of having to use all the way to the over. So that's why, because of this facility and area, that's why we added additional parking. Plus we have in front of the building. Again, still a little bit of a hike, but better than going from the front of the building or behind the building all the way over.
Okay. Now what's going to happen to the former soccer field here?
That will still be an area that will still be a practice field. It'll also be to an area where you can still play games modified. Yes, we'll have JV probably on the main turf field, but there still could be definitely modified use and so on. This will definitely not be going away. And as your teams continue to grow, you need to continue to have field space. So So these areas of both fields to the side that's running through the baseball or the softball fields right now will still definitely be used for practices and so on. Right now, in the years past, we've actually had to have, for example, modified boys and girls sharing a field many times. So now hopefully this has opened up an area to where they can have actually their own team practice. One of the other things that's not part of the project, but it's very exciting, Calvin, that we are in the process of receiving a grant. I have to learn more about it. I was just up to date yesterday in terms of having an administrative meeting we were talking about. Getting money to, on the back side, back where they were talking about where the parking was going to be added with the crushed stone, starting there and going down below our fields where our cross-country courts are, but there's going to actually be a disc golf.
Okay.
So we're building disc golf down the lower end of the field, and I guess it ends up going actually across our area and then coming back through. So that's kind of a neat thing as well.
That the community can take part in.
Correct. I will tell you one of the areas I have concerns that we'll figure it out. Right now, one of my first things saying is, where in the heck is our cross-country course going to actually be now that we've gone into a lot of these land spaces? But we will figure it out.
Are these lights going to be coming down?
That area we have to have further conversation with. I don't know the actual plans as right now for this present light. And this concession stand obviously at some point is not going to be deemed fit for anything, so that won't be used. So there's definitely some work, and even with fire codes, making sure if we don't need it and don't use it, let's take it down.
Right. We have ventured inside now, and you're telling me this is a pool?
Was a pool. And soon to be, hopefully by January. The goal right now is December 2022, but probably could be January, February 2023 to have the completion of our 21st century pool. The pool dates back to, I believe, 1972,
Right.
and a lot of the equipment was 1972, and we did have some replacement of equipment in 2008, but it has been for a long, long time a lot of, again, a pool can be an extreme cost. So we are going right down to the guts of the pool and everything else, new ceiling, all new painting, basically, again, a brand new pool. And then that takes us into, what you used to believe was the boys' locker room.
Okay.
So one of the areas we always have issues with is storage, so we will take the athletic director's office and push it out further to the existing office where you see the light, so we'll build out and gain more storage, but this will be a whole reconfiguration, a whole new redesign of our locker rooms, boys and girls locker room.
Okay. Because you still need those, particularly for
Yes.
basketball games and
Yes.
volleyball games.
Our goal for that completion is hopefully by October, because we realize the winter sports season is starting in November.
Right.
But by the time lockers and everything else, like I said, the whole concern always through this is just the timeline of supplies are just taking so much longer than anticipated.
Okay, Rob, where are we now?
We are in one of our new bathrooms. This bathroom has not been used in several years. We are definitely opening up just to have more with our students, more increasing our capacity. We have obviously just, stalls where sometimes two people bathroom at a time, so definitely a need for the population we have in the high school to service another bathroom. The one thing I'll say is we're visiting this bathroom, but there's an upgrade to all of our bathrooms in addition to the middle school.
And you've got to be doing this while kids are still using the bathrooms, so it's I imagine most of the work will be done during the summer months when it's not as busy.
Correct. We have this because this is a bathroom that has been closed that we're now making available under construction. We are working within this space now. It'll be finished during the summer, but as far as the actual spaces right now that we renovated, these will be summer projects because obviously we can't close the bathrooms now with students in session.
Okay. You've ever attended a function here at Northeastern and wondered what it looked like from the stage? This is not what it normally looks like, Rob.
No, so our auditorium is scheduled again, timeline issue. We're hoping for September. Now our goal is hopefully by the end of October. So we'll have to have professional development again to tip off the beginning of the year and grade level assemblies in different spaces. Auditorium, we have all brand new seating, aisle lighting, all house lighting at the top, all going to be repainted, new sound system, refinishing of all the stage areas. So basically, when somebody walks in, you're going to see a whole new space here too that we're very, very excited about, as this is our multi-purpose room, and one that often our public, for our, like as you stated, our public events, people will be coming into. So I think it'll also be Harvard Model UN meets here when all of our 25 plus schools visit our campus, in addition to actual recognition ceremonies and so on. So we're very, very excited about this space as well. And then I also just think the enhancements for our drama club production, just again the update of the microphone sound system and the lighting and so on. So it's a space that we're definitely very, very excited about to show off, because this is one of the first spaces you see, again, if you were a visitor attending any of these functions.
Yeah, the 8th grade moving up ceremony.
Correct.
Held in here. Graduation, high school graduation used to be, but last several years it's been at Clinton Community.
If you bring that topic up, right now our planning for that area would be our 8th grade moving up will be outdoors again, in terms of like a drive-through.
Okay.
Our goal for the senior class, we definitely will not needing Clinton Community any longer. If Plan A does not work, which is outside in our new soccer field area with the bleachers, then we'll have to go to Plan B, which has worked very, very well too, which is the front parking lot area. Because our biggest concern with the back area right now is still the lack of power, just for amplification for the sound system and so on. So that's an area we're running into. But so we actually, the high school administration and technology department and buildings and grounds, we actually have a meeting next week to see what we can do, because parents like to know plans well in advance to where the space is. But one thing we do know is it will be here.
Okay. So 2023, will it be, your plans to have it on the soccer field?
2023, our goal would be outside in the new soccer track area.
And if we get torrential downpours?
We have to have a rain date. So we'll have a rain date. I just hope it's not 3 or 4 days of rain in a row.
You can't graduate until August.
I think that would be a huge win for the kids. That they're like, I know people are waiting for that next announcement of what that area begin. But I actually, when we've had to make change areas because of COVID protocols, Calvin, I thought the graduations went extremely well out front.
Considering what you had to go through, yeah.
Correct. And the partnerships of buildings and grounds area workers that came in the evening, to our law enforcement representatives, to our fire department. All hands were on deck to still have it be a special day for the kids' recognition of all their K through 12 achievements. So it's a special day, and it's an important day, so we want to make sure we do it right.
Okay, here's the auditorium. We are out front in the 276 roadway area, and what are we going to look at here, Rob?
So we are looking at the front of the building, and the front of the building and the project also has new windows. So basically anything that you see as paneling is going to be replaced by a darker window. I say darker window because like the black steel part that's going to go on our front vestibule area, which is in this open space here. Again, that's where parents will come in during the day. And the left area is going to be high school, middle school administration, medical team, psychologists, counselors. And then to the right side is going to remain the district office side. So basically from the whole stretch is going to be all the way to the front of the building where you see those panels between windows. It's all going to be a line of all windows.
So your office is temporarily moved, but you'll be moving back into this area here?
Where you see where that little shrub is, that's actually where I will be. I'm actually moving into the old nurse's office, and we'll show you. It's only at the bare bones framework, but I'll show you a little display when we go into that area. But and then later on I can show you again a rendering of some of those photos of what the overall project when it's done completed will look like. Here again will all be resealed and relined. Calvin, where our main stone brick area is kind of like our welcome to Northeastern, and I can show a rendering of that too. It's going to be it's like an 8-foot sign that's going to be an LED sign. That's again, that is kind of aligned with the design of our front vestibule. Just important announcements and so on out at the front of the road.
Okay. Very good. All right, we have come inside from the parking lot area, and this is, I would say, where the new school began, and this side and on the other side was the original school, Champlain Central. I think this was the first area here that was put on for when it became Northeastern Clinton in 71, 72. Well, it became Northeastern Clinton in 70, 71, but the Morris kids stayed in Morris, and the Champlain kids stayed in Champlain. And then this other part here that we've become familiar with in the past 50 years was constructed. All right.
Yeah, so we this would be an area when people come through our basically our welcome center, our vestibule to the left, which is the area we're in. There would be windows actually put into the far wall where receptionists will be, and basically able to answer as well as assist any of our visitors on who they would need. Again, this space going down is, for example, this would be the middle school principal to the left.
Okay. This was the library?
This was the old media center. Yep.
Okay.
So basically it's all office spaces going through. What we're walking through is where the actual hallway will be. To the far side is going to be the nurse's office.
Okay.
So the other area is we never have to have our visitors in the hallways with our students. So when we get checked out, they would wait, and then obviously they would call. Kids will be coming down here when they get called in. But a family doesn't have to guess either. Again, you can find the medical provider, you can find the psychologist, you can find the counselor, you can find the building administration, middle school, high school. It's all in this consolidated space.
The traffic hallway for the students is beyond that wall right there. Usually when I see a gutter, I'm thinking cows here. What's this gutter for?
So this is where they're going through and digging up and going through sewer lines and so on.
Okay. All right, I'm going to have to duck here. And the lines get a little deeper as we come up through here.
Goes right into the high school principal.
Okay, so this is the guidance area, and then high school principal will be right here. All right.
So this basically starts off the high school end by the high school wing, and it gets the middle school closer to their area, their wing.
Okay.
So it'll come out to about here. It's gonna come out.
Okay, so this is the entrance that we've been using for the past 50 years. Right there, the high school entrance, and now it's going to be here, and there's going to be, so this will be some kind of construction out right here?
Yes, this will be our main secured vestibule. So again, to the right side off the stairs will be going to the district office, and then the area over here, anybody that needs assistance from middle school and high school administrative staff. The one thing that will not change is the high school entrance that you were showing, and as well as the middle school. When kids unload and they board buses, so arrival and departure, they will still go out their main doors because there's so many students.
Right.
But once school's in session, it goes under lockdown, and this is the area that any of our visitors will have to report to.
During the school day?
Correct.
So if you're coming to a basketball game,
they would go right through back to the right
or a
original
modified
entrance.
where they have been using.
Yes.
Right. All right, so this portion here, the brick is a little different color. That was the original Champlain Central School. And this part here was when it became Northeastern Clinton.
And Calvin, just so you know, this transformer has put us behind in this vestibule part a great deal. This was actually, we're supposed to get our new transformer 9 months ago. Now the goal is it's supposed to be delivered at the end of May. So that needs to be moved to the back side of the school to start this project. And again, so that's why the scope of work is, this should be at final completion by now. And now we haven't even started that, but we have now been able to start other areas of our project that were scheduled for later.
So all that electricity and all that stuff has to change directions, I guess. All right, what you've told me, Rob, is that this will all be windows through here.
Yep, they'll be all through windows. And one of the things I want to point out, this is the district office section, so like registrar, mailroom. My office will be in the existing space we're in, but one of the things I want to add that's never been done here that we're very excited about is if you look at the framing, going around, you'll see there's 2 open window areas, and it goes all the way around until it meets after that caution sign up through. This is actually going to be our public boardroom. So now we're going to have our board meetings here instead of having to set up in the library all the time and having custodial staff move chairs and everything else. So this is going to be a public boardroom space.
Unless you get an overflow crowd.
Correct. Well, it's going to seat 20. I hope I don't jinx myself, but in my soon to be 8 years, I've never had close to 20. Usually the average is about 4 or 5, and that's administrative staff. But what's going to happen is we already planned for that as well, because this space right here, that's the boardroom. This wall right here is going to be a partition that opens up into my office, so my office can actually open up and put another 8 to 10 seats on this side.
Okay.
So we're very excited about that part.
And where's your jacuzzi going?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to order one of those.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you, though, that the gentleman straight ahead of us that are working, we've been fortunate enough that we've had about 3 or 4 of our contractors doing our work, our previous graduates of Northeastern Clinton. So I make sure to remind them daily about the extra love and attention that better get into this project. But no, they've been great. So you can see there's still a lot of areas, again, sewer lines, and they're working on electrical, and now the space that we just pointed out, not the vestibule, it'll still have to be our regular entrances, but the district office space, as well as the middle school, high school administrative office suite, that's all scheduled to be done prior to school. Our furniture all comes August 22nd, all that area. So our goal was, you'll soon see the media center that is basically near completion, that a lot of our staff has taken over, simply for the part of getting out of here early in order to get this work done.
So it'll be open for the 22-23 school year.
So this area is a satellite office, and as I shared with you earlier, in the other area where the administrative middle school offices were, this is basically a closer to home where all the classrooms are. So if the middle school guidance counselor, administrative staff need to get somebody right off the bus, this is also like an additional conference room and an additional office space, so it can be like a meeting spot instead of taking them all the way down the hall with somebody that needs immediate attention and so on. So we just refer to this as our satellite office in the middle school.
All right. Will Kelly be guarding the door?
Mrs. Menard will be moving down to the larger area. So right now she's just hosting this space until some of these areas also get completed.
Yeah. She's the one who let me in the door, so I have to be nice to her.
Absolutely.
You want to leave.
So this is definitely, like I said, it's been helpful right now, especially when we have new people in different spaces. So
Now we should point out that Kelly is the cousin of Matt Arnold here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the middle school art room. And so basically the art rooms were located in the same section, kind of like in the middle school, high school ramp area where the media center is now. So this is been very exciting to bring this back into the middle school space, and brand new beautiful classroom. I will show you the high school end on our way as we make our way back to the media center. But so Mrs. Jubert enjoys a new space.
And something is due on May 13th here, or on May 9th, so they better get busy. On the north side now, and it looks like we got a new building going up. Getting more buses or what here?
So this is our transportation area. We're adding a new lift. We also are replacing the 2 existing lifts, just because of some foundational issues down below. So we're doing some upgrading. We're doing the restructuring of new offices, which will be on the right side, and basically all new siding, new garage doors, new windows, and so on. So they're getting their own facelift right now as well. The replacement of a new fuel island. The new fuel island to be put in, and then where you can see the machinery right now is this is going to be a new access point, a new access road for people that basically coming from the back that can also depart out on this side.
Oh, okay. So people leaving.
Yes. So instead of having to come through all the main traffic, try to relieve some of that congestion in traffic, and they can depart on this access road as well.
Yeah, I got after the town a couple of years ago to petition the state to get that speed limit lowered here by the JV field, and they lowered it a little bit, so that helps.
Yep, it's funny you say that, because we're actually working right now with Mayor Trombley, and even further down below, trying to see if we can get some reductions as well. It's a scary part that sometimes people aren't paying attention, realizing that there's fields right there.
Yeah, over the knoll, and all of a sudden
yes,
there's people right there. Yeah.
And even if somebody is, being a safe driver, just that blind spot, just the whole purpose of it. Next thing you know, you're on top of the hill and then you see people.
Right. It's just that knoll that you don't know what's coming up. And if you're leaving here and leaving through that area, you don't get a heck of a lot of fuel before you get to the traffic. So.
And this area, when I talk about transportation offices, we're looking at upgrades, just simply the part of it. I mean, like, just even improving insulation and stuff for the offices in the winter and so on for our staffing. So again, we're adding an additional bay to help support some of our work on our buses, as well as washing.
We're in a room with a view here. I said we're in a room with a view.
A nice one presently, right? Part of the field and dumpsters. So this is our high school art room. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's some work, there's some areas that we've had to reject in the project as far as some of our countertops and drawers, so that will be fixed this summer, as well as a couple floor tiles. So that's one of the things I always want to say is the construction managers in our buildings and grounds department and all of us, it's been very, very clear that we're not going to accept anything less than what we expect from what we ordered. So there are some materials that we're right on top of, we inspect. That's one of the areas with the press box that you actually can see through that window right now is that was put up, but it was not fully properly installed, so they were called back too, and some other additional materials that had to be added. So the checklist really comes out when things arrive to make sure that what we ordered is exactly what we ordered and comes in exactly how we ordered it.
I don't want that building blowing down when I'm up there.
Absolutely not.
Okay, hidden back there was where we found Rob when we first started here. It looks like it's going to be with countertops and stuff. There's something permanent going on in here, Rob. What are we looking?
So we are looking at nearing completion of our media center. Have furniture and so on. The problem is we've disrupted it because we've had to house our business office staff in order for them to begin work so we can be in by September. So basically we have shifted some of our locations of our office space, but the plan again, 2022, 2023, we'll open this up to students. We are now also presently hosted as the boardroom because we've had no location so on. Here's an actual example of a piece of furniture that was not necessarily that we ordered, that you can see it, a few of them that are still taped up to be returned.
Oh, return to
Again,
sender.
to make sure that we get exactly as we plan. So, but overall, I don't want to make it sound like everything that we're receiving is that, but there are, in a project this size, you're going to have those things, but we just are on guard to make sure that everything is purchased and installed as planned.
So you're not rubber stamping anything?
No. So this is going to be a nice new open space, and once we get ourselves out of here and get the furniture set up, it's going to be a very, very cozy place for our students. You'll also notice, probably if you peek through here, that there's actually windows that we're still waiting for that would be installed in that area, and then the unattractive blanket space. So that area, and that will also add more room because we're probably about 6 feet over into this area right now with that partition.
Okay, anything else, Rob?
Nope.
All right, so we've been looking at the construction project here at Northeastern as it stands on this May 10th, 2022, and sometime next year when it's a finished product, we'll plan on coming back.
I think personally, like October, I think would be a great time frame, 'cause I think we're at either completion or very near completion on the auditorium area, the locker room area, the bathroom area, the Chabelle area, and then our main centralized office spaces. So we are moving right along, and then our goal for next spring will be moving to the elementary schools to enhance their security features.
Okay, very good. So we've been talking with Robb Garrand, Superintendent of Schools here at Northeastern Clinton. Thanks for watching. For those of you who stuck around and didn't leave us when I said goodbye, this is what that vestibule will look at as you're entering into the school. This is the area between the current middle school and high school that we looked at. The offices, for the most part, will be on the left, and on the right is going to be where Mr. Garrand's office is and other stuff. So that's where the parents will come in during the school day. Anything else?
So
to look at, Rob?
this is an exterior photo of the vestibule. You'll notice, Calvin, you can start seeing almost like the window design, that it's window to window. This is because this is a cutout window. So you can see that steel area. Now I'm going to show you a picture of the inside.
Wow.
So this would be basically the secured entrance. You can see kind of like the reception area when a visitor comes. Again, this would be the district office side, and then this right through here will be actually the suite in the area where you can find all the administrative offices. So you can see that we're trying to make it as welcoming as possible in terms of why we're waiting for our students to be picked up, dropped off.
Well, as soon as you walk in the doors, this is what you're going to be greeted with. All right. Anything else, Rob?
This is the actual completion of the comfort station, otherwise known again as the concession stand, the bathrooms and the storage that was located by the track, the baseball
Okay.
fields, the tennis courts, and the soccer field.
Okay. That's under construction right now.
And those are the 3 photos I have at this time.
All right. Now we'll say goodbye. Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Okay, we have one more thing here to look at. To see, you never know. Don't take goodbye for So this is, you're saying this,
So
Is-
this will be our new front entrance. So we're looking at a way to refurbish or whatever the existing area. We just don't necessarily know what location that would best be suited for. But this is going to be our new entrance to a way to increase parent engagement or community engagement. So you can see the top of the area where it says Northeastern Clinton Central School, and then LED. You'll have a message here. So again, it could be academic, when parent-teacher conferences would be, special announcements of no school, a sports game, whatever else it may be. Obviously living in COVID times, some additional COVID protocols, whatever it is that we see fit at the time, but a good way to, again, message and communicate with our families and community. And it's two-sided.
okay, and that person standing there is supposedly representing a 6-footer, so it's going to be a tall sign.
You can
Now-
also see the steel, for example, like it's aligned with our front vestibule. So it kind of looks like a mirror image of each other.
I hope these are thick steel posts because this is facing east. And have you noticed there's a strong west wind here at Northeastern?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go out on the track on most nights, especially in the fall. But it will definitely be, well, like I said, it's all going to be well planned. But it's going
It better
to
be well anchored.
So between that area and then our new windows, as I share with you from the front entrance, which will also be aligned kind of like that area to the front vestibule, like I said, it'll pull it all together. But we're very, very excited about this. Again, it's another way to communicate with our families.
All right. So is there anything else, Rob?
This is all, Calvin. I think we are good for today.
All right.
With a goal of in October, I think you're going to be being able to see the community some more exciting areas with the results of the project.
All right. So our third goodbye, strike 3, and we're out. Thank you.